Hello, students. So, today we are going to start the chapter once again, and we are going to start from the topic Will the Land Sustain? The same chapter, the story of village Palampur. In the previous video, I told you about the traditional seeds versus the HYV seeds. Before coming to the topic, let me make you remember the traditional seeds versus HYV seeds. If we are going to use the traditional seeds, then we find the production to be less. At the same time, rainwater is more than enough for irrigation. You do not require to use the latest technique for irrigation. That is, very less water is also going to go with irrigation. Manures, that is natural manure, cow dung, green manure, that can be used as an input for growing crops. Now let us come to HYV seeds. HYV seeds, that is high yielding variety crops which were being used during Green Revolution. Ultimately, the production is found to be enhanced when you are going to use HYV seeds. But at the same time, you require much irrigation, latest techniques of irrigation, and even the man made fertilizers, chemicals, pesticides, insecticides as an input for the land so that the production is found to be increasing. Children, generally, we say that when we have done a lot of work from the morning, we get exhausted, tired, our body needs a rest. Yes or no? Similarly, the land is also a living being and it also needs rest, it also needs to be replenished, and we need to give time to it so that it can replenish itself. So, now one question comes, will the land sustain? Yes. Because this question comes because we are doing multiple cropping on the same piece of land. At the same time, we are using HYV seeds. We are also using excessive manure, and that also man made manure, chemicals, fertilizers, insecticides, and pesticides. So, we find the fertility of the soil to be decreasing, and at the same time, water table to be going down. So many times we have a thinking that land is a natural resource, so it is going to survive as much we use, but it is not like that. It is also going to deplete. Its quality is going to deplete. It will no more be productive if we use it without thinking. Now, what is the drawback of the Green Revolution? Green Revolution, we know it came in late 1960s, and it was the one to enhance the production. Mainly, Green Revolution in India came in Punjab and Haryana, where the production of wheat was found to be doubled. At that time, it became easy for we people to cope up with the demands of the increased population, because increasing population, that means more and more crops or more and more production to be there. So, one way Green Revolution has a positive outcome, but at the same time, it has a negative outcome also. We find the fertility of the soil to be decreased, and at the same time, the water table to be going down. So, ultimately, in future, if we are going to use the same piece of land, then we'll have to use more and more man made fertilizers so as to grow crops on the same piece of land. So we know that it has lost its fertility because the way we are using it to a great extent, and the time which it is getting for replenishing itself is not adequate, is not in proportion. So it is going to deplete. That is a drawback of the Green Revolution. Now let me come to the second point, that is distribution of land between the farmers in Palampur. The land is distributed unevenly, children, as I showed you the map which is there in the book. Small pieces of land are more than that of big and medium pieces of land. If you compare them, you find the small farmers to be more in number than the big farmers or the medium farmers. So, the land pattern or the distribution of land in the hypothetical village Palampur is uneven. We know very well that as small the land will be, the production will be less. जितनी छोटी ज़मीन होगी उतना ही प्रोडक्शन कम होगा. अब ये ज़मीनें छोटी क्यों हैं? Why the lands are small? Because nuclear family concept has come into being, and as a result the land has been divided and redivided and redivided. Now after land, the second factor which is abundant or most required, that is labor. So in Palampur, let us think who is the one to work as a labor. Obviously, the people who do not have their own lands, who are farm laborers, they are going to work as labor. And at the same time, the small farmers who do not have their lands, or if lands are there, then small lands less than 2 hectares, they are going to work as a farm laborer in the fields of the farmers who have more than 2 hectares, that is big and medium farmers. Now let us see what is the difference between wages and salary, skilled and unskilled labor, formal and informal loans. And the second question, which is over here on the screen, that is why poor farmers become more poor. So let us talk about differences first, wages and salary. When we are working on daily basis and we are getting on the working day only, we are not going to get money for the day which we have taken a leave, then we say that we are getting wages. तो जब हम जिस दिन काम करते हैं उस दिन के पैसे हमें मिलते हैं, छुट्टी के पैसे हमें नहीं मिलते तो उसे हम wages कहते हैं. And salary that we get at the end of the month, and it does not count the holidays, which national holidays or the holidays which are being provided by the organization. Now let me talk about skilled and unskilled labor. Skilled labor, it is going to do something which the person has learned. For example, computer. If a person knows computer, then and then only he or she will be able to handle or do the work of computer, and it requires skill. So it is a skilled labor. Unskilled labor who are ready to do any kind of odd jobs, as for example rickshaw pulling, weightlifting, then we call it to be unskilled labor, because here the labor does not require any skills. Now, what is the difference between formal and informal loan? Might be confused. Informal and formal. Informal, it is friendly, and formal, it is non friendly. Informal means a loan which you are going to get from your known peoples or the people whom you know, as for example, money lenders, friends, relatives, such kind of loan which you get from relatives, money lenders, etc., that is said to be informal loan. And the money which you get from bank as a loan or cooperatives, then that money is said to be formal loan, for which you require assets. Normally, in informal loan, we find the rate of interest to be very high as compared to formal loans. Now, one question is there, why poor farmers become more poor? Because they readily accept the decisions which are being provided by the big farmers or the medium farmers. They are not ready to fight for their own cause. For example, in the book, a farm laborer is there, Dala, who is ready to work on rupees 160, though he knows very well that rupees 300 is a daily wage which the government has decided. He knows very well that in Palampur the people are more for work and the work is less, so he readily accepts the situation. So that is the difference between formal and informal loan, and why the poor farmers become more poor. Now, whenever you're doing any kind of farming, you need particular amount of money because you need to pay to the labor, you need to purchase the raw materials. At the same time, you need to purchase some machineries also. So, physical capital is divided, we know, into two parts, fixed and working capital. Now, small farmers, where do they get the money from? And the big farmers, where do they get the money from? As I said you that big farmers, they have surplus land, extra land, and more the land is, the more the production is. So in the previous year also, they might have saved certain amount of money which they are going to use for sowing seeds and bringing other things as manure or for labor. So if I talk about right now, small farmers, they get it from informal sector, that is from any of the friends, relatives, or money lender. Medium and big farmers, they get the loan from banks or cooperatives. Now, what is a debt trap? It can be easily explained by a story. For example, a farmer is there, his name is Mohit, and he has 2 acres of land. He is growing wheat on that piece of land. So now the sowing season has come and he needs certain money, but he finds the money to be less, and even the water is not there, even he needs some equipments. So ultimately, after calculating, he finds that overall he needs 3,000 rupees. So he went to the money lender and he requested for lending the money of rupees 3,000. He was being provided the money, but the rate of interest was very high. Approximately, think for a while, it is 24%. Now, also, this Mohit is depending on the crop. That if the crops are good, अगर फसल अच्छी होती है तो मैं repay कर दूंगा, पैसे वापस दे दूंगा. But the crops are failure. They were not that good. So the problem comes in front of Mohit, how to return the money which he has taken. So what he does, he goes to the money lender and requests for one more time to lend the money. It is not like that you are to repay the whole loan and then you are getting the other one. In rural areas, you can get loan one after the other. And this time also Mohit got the loan. When he got the loan, he came back and he thought that I'm going to do something. And as he started, again there was a loss in that particular year. So total the loss was much more, and the previous rate of interest he is still paying, and right now again he has to pay the rate of interest. As he is not able to pay the principal amount, so we find him into a debt trap. Debt, that is karja in Hindi. So he has been trapped by the big farmers or the medium farmers. Let us proceed further. We are going to discuss in the next class a topic that is sale for surplus farm products. Thank you.